So, hey, everyone, I want to welcome you to the um, May the 7th, Wednesday, May 7th version of Speaker Co-working. As you can see in the background, my daughter was just in here with me this morning, being crazy, which is what she does all the time. Um, but good to see everyone. This is where we help speakers from around the world to get help getting booked on more stages, primarily to use their voice as the primary marketing engine for the greater good that they do in the world, whether it's through another product or service or the knowledge that they have, sharing that. Um, I'm Ron. I'm the head of membership and operations. No, I'm not the head of operations. That's Angela. I'm the head of membership and speaker booking at SpeakerHub. We run a team of about 22 full-time employees and another 20 or so contractors that make this thing go. Some other team members may jump in to answer questions, but Angela is the head of operations at SpeakerHub. And we do this every day, Monday through Friday. We're on for at least an hour to answer whatever questions you have about getting on more stages. So we always start off with wins, and then we go into introductions. So Sharon and Debbie, I see this is you guys' first time with us, so we'll let you introduce yourself. We just want to go through to kind of celebrate the wins since yesterday. Speaker Hub, we have wins every single day. Michelle has her hand up, which means that there's some good news.
Yes, there is. We just booked another podcast today and we're in conversation with three.
It's incredible. That is incredible. So has Ann been recording these while she's traveling around the world?
Yes.
Oh, that's incredible. How I want to find out, like, we should talk after this. I want to see how close she is to her. I know she had a goal of doing 100 by the end of June. And
We're not
um,
close to hitting that.
okay, yeah, I just want to see where it
Yeah.
is, but it's a start. You're probably a lot closer than where you were in December. So,
Yes, very much so.
all right, I mean, you got to set an ambitious goal to try to get there, and she set an ambitious goal to try to do 15 to I think it's 15 podcasts a month from December up until June. But it's part of it. John, how's it going? Good to see you. Any other wins? No? Okay, cool. Perfectly fine. Sharon Shanzer, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Sharon Shanzer. I'm in Manhattan, Upper West Side, and I've lived here forever. I'm a multi-hyphenate web designer, consultant, etc. Single mom of a 17-year-old today. Actually, it's his birthday. It's insane because he was just born yesterday. And I have a speaking business that I'm working on developing that hopefully will be like a permanent fork from my day-to-day grind of being a web designer and a graphic designer. I'm still kind of, I have the concept. I'm still working on how to articulate it properly, but I'm going to read what I've written as opposed to sort of have a clever way to just sort of say it off the top of my head. But anyway, hey, I'm Sharon Shanzer and I'm the founder of What's Your Boulder. It's a simple way to figure out what's in your way and actually do something about it. We all have that one thing that's blocking us, whether it's in work, life, or just how we think. I help people get clear on what the boulder is, break it down into doable steps, and move forward without overcomplicating everything. Think progress, not perfection. That's my shtick. So,
No, that's dope. That's
well,
cool, man.
yeah, what's your boulder is the framework, and it comes out of sort of how I live my life, how I run my business, and it's a sort of manifestation of my overall philosophy, which is sort of living in a friction-free way, just kind of cutting through the clutter, not in a Marie Kondo way, but in a very little way, picking out things that can be done this shortest distance between 2 points. So I've been working on it for a long time, and I'm now sort of formally launching it, trying to get speaking engagements, podcasts, it's all the things that everyone else is doing, obviously. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that's what I'll be doing full time within a relatively short period of time. So,
Cool, cool. We'll try to help you as much as we
thank
can, right? And Debbie Mann, the public adjuster.
Hi, how are you? My name is Debbie. I'm not even really sure, what drew me to this group. I was a social worker for 20 years, working with horribly abused kids and shifted gears a year ago. And I'm in the process of building this business as a public adjuster. I just, and actually thought I was getting out of sort of that compassionate space. And then now here I am advocating for people again. But what I'm finding is that most people don't know what public adjusters are. Most people don't even realize, kind of how they're being handled by their insurance companies. So one of the ways that I have found useful, at least in the mental health realm, is to do, podcasts and do different interviews with people to kind of get the word out there. But this is a new, fresh topic. It's a year old now, but I'm not somebody who does this kind of speaking on a regular basis. So I'm hoping to gain some skills and figure out how to do it, what to do, and just share, the knowledge that I've gained over the last year.
Okay. No, that's important. For those who don't know, a public adjuster is a chiropractor that does adjustments in the park. No, I'm just kidding. That's not a
I'll tell you, I've met some really distraught people, like just crying because of just being so exasperated. They've had difficult, property damage, and now they can't afford it, can't handle it. We've been able to advocate for them and really get them paid by their insurance, which feels really good as a previous social worker. But would really like on the business side to be able to just expand and grow and share what we're doing.
Gotcha. Okay. So outside of my joke, she has a really important job. I come from the insurance background. I know the importance of insurance adjusters, but also understand the importance of the customers having an advocate, because the insurance adjuster is usually an advocate for the company more than an advocate for the client, right? Is that correct, Debbie? Did I explain that properly?
Yes, you did. So we represent the homeowner or business owner.
Yeah.
I think of it as like, when you go to court or have a real estate transaction, there's a representation on both sides. And if one side doesn't have it, it's really not a fair argument or dispute. Yeah. So we represent the homeowners to make sure that we're looking out for what their needs are.
There it is. There it is. Whoop, there it is. There it is for all of our people over 30. Y'all know what whoop, there it is. So any other questions, or because I'm going to test some new frameworks today. I'm going to teach some new frameworks that you all haven't seen from us before, but I'm going to test them because this is where we get feedback on how we do things. But you all are speakers just like we are, and we get better in public. You don't get better in private. So, John, what's up?
Hey everyone, I'm John. Let me see if I can lower my hand here. So Ron, I went yesterday to make my first pitches for podcasts, and first of all, it's a bit confusing. I have a different login page for my speaker page as opposed to SpeakerHub Pro.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep, that's how it's supposed to be. SpeakerHub,
Okay.
the speaker page is the publicly facing page for the directory. Right. And we can't, the way that that's built, we can't put all of the 4 million people. We don't want that on Google. So it's a separate, one is private, the other one is public information.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, I was able to use the filter, find some folks that I was interested in pitching, but the green pitch button is not lit up, even though here's the confusing thing, Ron. On my speaker page, it says I am a silver member there. And honestly, I can't remember. I haven't seen anything come through my banking stuff, any charges from you. But I'm wondering what that means because the green pitch button will not light up on the other side.
Yep. So I'll explain that to you. That's a great question. Let me walk through this because you'll understand this. What I'm about to show you will explain that. One moment. Let me get some of this other crap off my screen. And this is great for Sharon and Debbie to understand also. So let me bring up old SpeakerHub here. Right. All right. Can everyone see my screen here?
Yeah.
All right. So SpeakerHub is really built around two systems. And we call it the speaker flywheel. There's only two ways to get booked for a speaking gig, guys. Either the host can find you or you can reach out to the host, right? And where the host reaches out to you, we call that inbound. And this is basically the SpeakerHub directory. This is where we work with 64,000 speakers, They all create a profile, whether it's free or it's paid. It's our basic bureau directory. It's nothing fancy. Let me bring it back up here. I had to log out so you can see it in its full glory. So if we look here at Jenny Jepson, or we can bring up John Heavner. Right? So this is John's page here. John has a silver profile. What does that mean? It means that he can put whatever, he can put as many videos, as many presentations as he wants, and we don't show his competition on the left. So an event planner looks for John, they're only going to see John. And he can put 5 videos, he can put 100, whatever. He can put whatever he wants on his page. Someone with the free profile, and let's pull that up. Let's take John off and just put anybody in there. Like, let's pick, oh, we got a lot of silver members. Let me go over here and just click on here again and see if it'll take all the silver people off. Right? If we pick Mark Confero doesn't pay us anything. So you know how look at how limited his profile is. But what's on the left? If you're looking for people like Mark, they're on the left, right? You see the difference? So when someone upgrades their speaker profile, they have an option of removing their competition and adding more stuff. That option costs $149 a year or $19 a month.
But
It's for where,
that has nothing to do with SpeakerHub Pro, correct?
Nope, I'm going to explain that too. Give me 2 seconds. I just want to make sure,
Right.
because Sharon and Debbie don't know how this works. So I don't want to have to explain it to them twice, right? So this is what we call inbound. This is if you want our event planners to find you. If we give it a couple seconds at the bottom of the page, you'll usually see, it'll tell you, Jadiko's on the calls on here pitching, but usually it'll show how many event planners are actually live searching through the software right now looking for event planners, right? So that's for you to be found. Does that make sense? That's 21 event planners are on the site live right now searching through those 64,000 speakers. So anything that you pay for over there, that is over there. They're not the same. 2 different worlds. Why? Because some people just want a free profile or they just want to be found. They don't want to pitch. I don't want to reach out. I'm famous enough for them to find me. Cool. Don't worry about that. Some people are saying, I don't want, a young lady came on yesterday, Philippa said, I don't need the fancy profile. All of my gigs are going to come from me reaching out to people. So can I get the free one over here, but I want the highest one you got on this side. So Philippa signed up for our highest level in SpeakerHub Pro because she wants to do more pitching than waiting on a host to find her. Does that make sense, Sharon?
Yeah.
Right? So the other side of the business is called SpeakerHub Pro, right? And I'll show you what that looks like. So SpeakerHub Pro is where the magic happens. You're 7 times more likely to get booked with SpeakerHub Pro than what you are with just waiting in our directory. So you can see yesterday I was doing this with Meg, but I'm going to put my information back in here so I can demonstrate it. And my business name is called SpeakerHub, and I am in Medellin, Colombia, and I am a booking agent. Let's call it that. Boom. And I help entrepreneurs to grow their businesses by getting booked on paid speaking gigs. If I can spell. Podcast interviews and press coverage. So they don't have to dance on TikTok, right? So once I put this basic information in about me, boom, and I hit save, Sharon and Debbie, the system is actually going to look at my LinkedIn, look at my website, and it's going to write a bio for me. So in 15 seconds, you're going to see this Matthew Megson is going to disappear, and it's going to say something about Ron's story, right? So give it a couple more minutes here, and this is going to go ahead and be replaced. It's just looking at my website and everything to find out who I am. Once that's done, it's also matching me in the background to the speaking gigs. Matthew, why is this still saying Matthew? My name is Ron. Let's do it again, right? So it's going to start matching me with the speaking gigs. What is going on with this thing? This is wild. It's going to start matching me with the speaking gigs based on my topic. All right. So when I click on podcast, I should see podcast relevant to me, not relevant to Angela or relevant to Michelle Mazer. Right. So you see how it just wrote that for me there, Debbie? So now when I click on podcast, I'm getting different podcasts they think I would be a great guest on, business class, whatever. When I click on associations, it's going to give me different associations. You know, I come back here, now I'm getting all the public speaking podcasts because I'm a booking agent. So I should get those types of public speaking style podcasts. I can listen to it, I can add it to a list, and I can pitch it. This is a separate service from the inbound system. I think what got John confused is because a lot of our members are lifetime. They pay us once and they get lifetime access to the entire flywheel. They don't just get the speaker page or just SpeakerHub Pro. They get everything. Jadika has everything. Cardis has everything. Michelle and Ann, they have access to everything in their lifetime accounts. Right? And I just got kicked out somehow. Oh, there we go. Yeah, let me log out and log back in because I think we did an update today and it's still on my old cookies because I'm like, why are these bugs? All right, there we go. So now I go to my mailbox and you can see I can go ahead and can you get Ezekiel on the call? Because there's something wrong. If you can get Ezekiel or Miguel to hop in, because this ain't behaving properly. Right? Yeah, I got an error someplace. All right. But what it's supposed to do is the AI will write the email for you and allow you to send. Michelle, are you having the same issue on yours?
When I was on it this morning, I wasn't having any issues.
Okay. So there may be a new bug or something. Right. But yeah, John, those are two separate systems. And it's designed that way because when we bought SpeakerHub, it was just a directory and we ran the other company separately. And we realized that just like on LinkedIn, how many of y'all are familiar with LinkedIn? Right? So LinkedIn has LinkedIn, which is their free thing. Anybody can sign up for it. That's SpeakerHub. But then if you get this gold thing, that means you have LinkedIn Premium, which means you pay at least $30 a month to have LinkedIn Premium. And they give you like extra stats about who's looking at your profile and things of that sort. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. So I get these analytics that you don't get with the free LinkedIn. That's what just like SpeakerHub Pro. I mean, SpeakerHub, the upgraded one, like the silver one that you have. But over in the corner, there's a thing called Sales Navigator. It doesn't even look like LinkedIn. Now I pay $200 a month for this. And what it does, it gives me more information on each person. I get to see all the people that are my friends, what they're sharing, what they're talking about, how popular they are. Are there any things that I should be aware of? If they post something about this, it will let me know. I can put keywords in to say, give me an alert for everybody who says I'm looking for speaking gigs, and it'll give me everybody who ever posts about that. This is, one moment. Here, todo bien. Okay, rápido, estoy en una cita. You want to show him your book. Hey, he made a book, a comic book, right? Of his little character here.
It's Pete.
Okay. Pete, yep. All right. I need to finish my meeting, okay? Regresa en 15 minutos. Gracias. Okay. He's been trying for 2 hours to show me this, but I've been in back-to-back meetings, and I promised him I would listen to him in an hour, but he came late. So, but this is Sales Navigator, right? It's a separate system from the regular LinkedIn. Does that make sense, John?
Yeah.
Doesn't even look like LinkedIn, but it is LinkedIn, just like SpeakerHub Pro doesn't even look like SpeakerHub, but it is. Got it?
Yep. Thank you, Ron.
Yep. Sorry for the long explanation, but I know other people watch and they have the same questions. So I wanted to answer it for everyone, that there's the speaker flywheel that controls both sides. Any questions about that from anyone else? Because what I'm going to talk about today, John, you actually served it up on a platter, because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this flywheel thing and why it is so important to us. Is that fair? Sharon, does the flywheel make sense? Debbie, the flywheel make sense?
Yeah, seems
All
true.
right. So we're going to get a little bit further into it, right? So we're creating a specific page inside of SpeakerHub just to explain the flywheel to people, because it's the thing that makes it work. I've worked with over 1,000 speakers over the last 6 years directly in an agency, and I realized that there really wasn't a difference between, like, in talent between the speakers who were always booked and the speakers who were never booked. They both were talented speakers. It was just the way that they looked at the business, right? So 90% of speakers just sit and wait for someone to contact them. And that's not a criticism, but if I were to ask Debbie, your past speaking gigs, was it because you reached out to people, or was it because they reached out to you?
A little bit of both. I mean, over time, people know who you are and then they'll ask you. But a lot of initiation was me reaching out, which is what prompted me to come here.
Yep. Cool. Perfect. And Sharon, your past speaking gigs, has it been primarily you getting reached out to, or you reaching out to people? I think you're muted a bit.
For now, it's me reaching out to people, but of course that's, I've been doing business development since I was yay tall, and I don't want to do any of that because that's a waste of my time. So for me, the end game is to be, in demand, so I don't have to, like with my regular business where it's all referrals, 100%. With my design business, yeah. So for now, today, but tomorrow, hopefully all referrals.
No, we got you. We got you. I just want to make sure. Hey, you want to say hi? Say hi, and then I got to get back to work. Okay?
Hola.
Okay. Besos. Hablas en media hora, okay? Okay, bye-bye. All right, shut the door. Hey, cierra la puerta, por favor. Gracias. Okay. All right. So, yeah, the kids are at home because it was a big storm yesterday. So there's no school. So they're in daddy daycare today. But yeah, most speakers, we know, Debbie and Sharon, you're a little bit different, but most speakers are just waiting to be chosen. So out of the 64,000 speakers at SpeakerHub, only about 4,000 of them have ever done outreach. Let me say that again. Out of our 64,000 people, only about 7% have ever done outbound pitching. That's wild, right? So you can beat 93% of the competition just by pitching, right? But here's what we learned. There's only 3 ways for a speaker to get paid. And usually the way that you get paid determines your behavior. If you're a traditional speaker and you're waiting to get paid by someone, you're usually waiting for someone to call you. So you get paid up front. I don't know if we can make this a little bit bigger. Actually, I'll bring it up in Canva. So I want you all to see this because this is really cool. Maria is a genius. Like, if anybody ever tries to take Maria from our company, we're going to have a fight. Maria put together, to support our BDA strategy, we have this thing called the traditional speaker, where how we talk about how the way that you get paid from a speaking gig is before, during, or after an event, right? So most traditional speakers make all of their money before the event with their speaker fee. They may sell a little bit of books or a little bit of stuff at the event, but after the event, they usually don't make any money because it's over. They're done selling their books to the people that were there in the audience. Is that fair? Most people agree with that? So they get a large lump sum up front. They make a little bit at the event, and then it's pretty much dead after that. They're looking for their next gig. The entrepreneurial speaker doesn't make anything up front. Sometimes we'll pay to get on that stage. We'll lose money up front because we know when we get there, we're going to sell our web design services, or we're going to sell our consulting or something like that, or we're going to capture a bunch of leads. And most of our money is going to be made after the event, following up on the leads that came to our desk or following up with the people that bought our services down the road. Does that make sense? So Sharon goes and speaks at the Chamber of Commerce. They may not pay her anything to show up, right? But while she's there, she captures 20 people in the audience that need new websites. 2 months later, she's made $15,000. They would have never paid her $15,000 to come talk to 30 people, but she still got paid $15,000 because she understood that the money wasn't made up front; it was made on the backside, right? So that's great. Both sides work, right? But there's something we call the Botham strategy, right? I'm from St. Louis, and they say, "Hey man, do you want to do this or you want to do that?" And we say, "No, I want to do both of them." So that's what we're doing. We're gonna do both of them. You, as a speaker, you can do both of them. You don't just have to be a traditional speaker and get paid up front. You can also negotiate that you want to capture leads, and I'm going to sell some people on the back end too. Or you don't just have to be the speaker that's always showing up for free. If you learn the skill, you can get paid up front and get clients on the back end. Does that make sense? So if you had to choose between the three, there's nothing wrong with choosing both of them. Pick both. It don't have to be either or. This is the and world that we live in. I want to do this and this. I'm not in the either or world. Now, most of the time, I get paid this way, right? Because it removes the barrier of fee. If I say I'm willing to show up for free, or I'm willing to pay you for that time, they're like, yeah, come on, we'll give you the stage. Because it's a profit center for them. Versus if I'm saying, hey, I want to be paid $7,000 to show up. Well, maybe their budget's only $5,000, so I'm going to miss that gig. You see what I mean? Like if I budget myself out of their budget, they're never going to, maybe they only got $2,000. And I'm like, no, I get paid $7,500. Well, I'm going to miss this gig. But Angela's going to take it. She'll say, I'll come for free. Or I may do both of them. Give me the 2,000. I'm going to sell my stuff and I'm going to get clients on the back end. Any questions about the traditional speaker, the entrepreneurial speaker, and both of them? If you hear somebody say both of them, they stole it from us. Don't be letting people steal. Y'all haven't heard of this anyplace else but right here, right? Because we want y'all to do both of them. Any questions about this so far? Does this make sense? Comments? Anything? All right, because we're about to get into it. I'm going to show you why this is really important. Miguel, real quick, while you're here, we got a small problem. And 1 second. We got a small problem. Whenever I log in on SpeakerHub Pro and I go try to send a pitch, it gives me an error. So Miguel is one of our developers along with Santiago's over QA. You see this error that says error getting scheduled email. I don't have any scheduled emails. So that pops up. So then when I come to try to pitch, it just blanks my screen.
Oh,
So you can log into my account
okay.
to try to figure out what that is, but we got to get this fixed. We got to do this now because I don't have any scheduled
Yeah, we
emails.
are going to investigate that. Yeah,
Huh?
I haven't
sorry.
seen that issue on my account, but yeah, we will
Log in as
check
me and
yours.
try it. Just
Yeah.
use admin to log in as me, and you should be able to find it. Cool.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Thank
Talk
you.
to you later. So that's Miguel and Santiago. They're a couple of our team leads that make this thing go. So It ain't just me. I just want to let y'all know we got a whole team of folks. But any questions about both of them before I get more into it? Because this is really, really, really important. Does the concept make sense? That you don't have to do one or the other. So right now, you may be a traditional speaker, right? But what happens after you leave the stage? Someone may want to work with you after you leave the stage, but if you don't have the products and services, you're leaving 70% of your revenue on the table. When I work with the best speakers, 70% of their revenue came off the stage. 70%. You all ever heard of this guy here? This dude, Stephen Covey, right? Stephen hasn't spoken since when? 2012, right? He hasn't spoken since 2012. He passed away July 16th, 2012. That speech that he gave, Franklin Covey, that company that's built around that speech last year did $287 million, right? He was doing both of them. I'm just telling you. He was not just getting paid to show up. He was building a business on the backside. They still sell that book, those courses. Franklin Covey, they still sell 24 courses built around that one piece of IP. Right? They got a speakers bureau. They got software all built around one idea. 7 Habits. So he wasn't just going to show up to speak. Make sense? There's another guy here. Gary V. Everybody knows this guy. Gary V started off with Wine Library, right? At the beginning, this was him. He was not a famous speaker. He ran an online wine store, a liquor store with his dad, and they shipped wine all over the country. This was their store was called Wine Library. So he used to make these goofy videos that look like ours, right? Webcam or iPhone video. This is where he started, right? So what was he at first? He was a free speaker that was just known because he was promoting his product. He was an entrepreneurial speaker. I want to show you something. I want to walk through this because this is really important. Let me go back to my channel here. To show you, everybody knows Gary V. I was just watching a video of him the other day, and let me see, Gary. Let's see. And here's what let me go here. Watch this. So right here. Watch this. Watch this. Let me change. So you can hear it. I want you to hear this.
It was we're going to go in a different direction. This was I did a speaking gig 15 years ago. I get this email. They're like, would you like to give a speech? I'm like, that sounds cool. It was like, I was running a wine store at the time, but I was starting the internet thing, right? They're like, do you want to come and give a talk? So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yes, I'm in. They're like, it's in Florida and whatever. I was like excited to get asked to speak. He then
sounds like us, right? We got a business. We're the entrepreneurial speaker. Somebody wants you to come talk. Yeah, I'm going to show up. This dude right here that charges $150,000 to speak is a Botham speaker. Okay? He was running the Wine Library thing. He's explaining it. Let me not bury the lead. Oh,
because the market is the market. When you're like, this is how speaking worked. The first time I did a speaking gig 15 years ago, I get this email. They're like, would you like to give a speech? I'm like, that sounds cool. It was like, I was running a wine store at the time, but I was starting the internet thing, right? They're like, do you want to come and give a talk? So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yes, I'm in. They're like, it's in Florida and whatever. I was like excited to get asked to speak. He then replies, he's like, how much do you charge? I'm like, fuck, you can charge for this shit?
My first ever gig, Robert Kiyosaki took me to Hawaii. I was a 20-year-old kid, and he goes, what's your speaking fee? I said, what's yours? He said, this much. I said, same as mine.
Mine was pretty funny. So now I get the email from this guy. It's like 2006. He's like, He's like, what's your fee? Now I'm like sitting there looking at this email. I'm, remember, this was pre, laptops and cell phones, like big monitor. I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, okay, because I'm no dope. Back to the answer I'm giving to everyone here. I'm like, I got to come up with the biggest fucking number I could ever imagine to give a speech. And I reply, I'm like, $5,000. The guy replies in 2 seconds to that email. He's like, done. I'm like, fuck. And the way I got
right, so that we don't get demonetized, let me not play the whole video. But everybody starts off someplace. Now, we know him now as Gary V, 18 million followers. He runs a $400 million a year business doing social media and advertising for people. But he started off running the business and not getting paid. Do you see what I mean? Now he does both. You're leaving money on the table if you're just doing one. He's missing out on $150,000 gigs if he doesn't add speaking to the business. And he's missing out on a multi-million-dollar business if he doesn't add business to the speaking. Is that fair? Any questions about that? Are you surprised? Is it becoming more apparent that all of the people that you know and trust in the speaking business are not just speakers? We think that they are, but they're not. They're not just speakers. You are cheating yourself, and you will lose to the people who are doing both because they have more money. They have more capital. They're willing to take the free gigs in order to get the clients. They're willing to pay for gigs in order to get the clients. If they're getting paid up front, they're willing to take that money to build the business. Do you see what I mean? Like they go hand in hand. And if you can build both skills, if you can be an operator and a promoter, you're unstoppable. Right? It's unstoppable. Any questions so far? This is a really dense topic. I don't want to get too far into it, but I want to make sure that we understand that there's value on both sides. One side ain't right, one side ain't wrong, but it's best to be both of them. You want to be on both sides. Any questions so far? Nope. Cool. I'm gonna keep going. Or you gonna say something, John? Oh no, he's scratching his hand. Okay, right. So again, this is still early. Maria's still working on these, but this is what we want to look at. So why do we use this flywheel in order to do this? Well, the flywheel has different effects on different people, right? The entrepreneurial speaker, they look at the flywheel and they say, yes, this is what I need. The traditional speaker looks at it and they say, man, this is trash. Just put me in the directory, right? And I say, cool, you can have it your way, but I know who wins. I got all the data. The entrepreneurial sees podcast as a high value trust builder. It's a way for them to prove themselves and to build their business like Debbie was talking about. I was going on podcasts, getting the word out about the other project that she was working on before this one. The traditional speaker, they're quick to say, I don't go on podcasts because they don't pay. It's not true, but that's how they believe. They don't pay traditional speakers up front to come be on the podcast. That is true, but podcasts do pay. You just don't get paid up front, right? How does the entrepreneur see media outlets? Well, they see it as a credibility booster. If I say I write for Wall Street Journal or Forbes, it's a credibility booster, right? The traditional speaker sees it as it's just a promo tour. I was in this magazine. I was that. They're getting featured. They're not writing. You see what I mean? The entrepreneur wants to write the column. The traditional speaker wants to be featured, as seen in. We see it on their websites all the time, as seen on CBS, as seen in such and such. My guys are saying, no, I write for them. Totally two different things. You show up, Sharon, and you say, I'm Sharon Shasner. I was featured in Wall Street Journal. And then next month, you reach out to the same thing and you say, I'm Sharon Shasner. I'm the Wall Street Journal tech columnist. I guarantee you make $10,000 more than when you were just featured in a byline. Is this fair, guys, to show the difference? The reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because the last 2 days we talked about how you saw yourself, which is a reflection of how you see the opportunity. If you still see yourself as a traditional speaker, you're going to miss a lot. Right? Entrepreneurs see the association as, hey, yo, they're giving me a referral to 20 people in the room. This is going to be great. The traditional speaker sees the associations as, oh, it's consistent gigs, but they don't pay a lot. They only give me $1,000 or $500 when I go talk at the Chamber of Commerce. It's not the fancy pictures with thousands of people in the room. It's a local association. But at least I get to practice. I'm looking at that like, yo, they got 20 of my folks in the room. I bet I can sell 10 of them. I bet I get 15 trials out this room, right? Conferences. We see it as an entry point to a funnel. As an entrepreneur, look, I'm going to go talk. I'm going to be in front of a bunch of folks. If I do this right, a lot of these people are going to use my speaker QR code and get trials or download my stuff. The traditional speaker sees it as that's their payday. This is where they make money. They didn't make any money up until this last one. So they out here upset because don't nobody want to pay them on podcasts. They didn't get paid for the feature. The association paid them a little bit. They got to do all conferences to reach their financial goals. So they're hot that an idiot like me is speaking before them and bragging about how much I make from it. Because I'm like, look, I go on a podcast, that's at least 10 grand I'm going to get from getting people to sign up. When I write, they pay me $1 a word for every word I write. I'm not featured. I'm going to go call one of them and feature them in my article that I'm going to get paid for. They're going to be just happy I put a quote in there for them. This really happens, right? When I go speak at an association or on a podcast, a little association room, a Zoom, cool. Go and give me them. Y'all want a trial? We're going to get a bunch of clients out of there. Is this making sense? The mindset. The only difference is, what are you looking for? If you want to be a traditional speaker, high five, do it. If you want to build long-lasting legacy so that even when you haven't spoken or breathed in 12 years, your family can still generate $287 million or whatever that number may be for based on your project, you got to look at both of them. You can't just do one, right? So that's why we do it. Here's the difference in the mindset, right? We're looking at all of this is about client acquisition, where this is used to build the business. Over here, speaking is the business. Again, the entrepreneur is looking to build the business. The traditional speaking is the business. It's hard to compete when people are willing to offer your product for free. It's hard to compete when people are willing to offer your product for free. Right? What I mean is they're willing to show up and speak for free, but you got to get paid. And they're like, man, why'd they pick him? Because he spoke for free. Now, let me tell you something. Every speaker speaks for free. Don't let them lie to you. People don't like to hear it, man. I look, people get mad at me when I talk about this stuff. All I look at is my checking account. I look at my speakers' checking accounts that are doing both of them. And I say, this is where they make the money. They put the perception out there as their coach. I get paid this amount. And on the backside, they speaking for free at the conferences with me. All the top ones. I'm this speaker. Cool. Dude, you're the same thing as me. I know none of us got paid to speak at this thing. But so I don't knock it. I think you should do what? Both of them. Do both. But don't believe that they're only doing one. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Is that fair? Any questions? Right? So this goes with our heading on SpeakerHub, right? We're very clear. Don't just get paid to speak. Speak to get paid too. Do both of them. Right? This is why most speakers quit. Only 10% make $50,000 just from speaking fees. 10%. 75% of them are doing less than 10 gigs. Half of the industry don't even get paid $1,000 per talk. If you want to be poor, be a traditional speaker, at least for the first 5 years. Until you get really good, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. For the first few years, it's going to be a part-time gig. But if you got the business to build on the backside, it becomes a lot easier. So the problem isn't you or your message. The problem is the industry's focus on what we call the speaker fairies, only getting paid from speaker fees. Right? We got the data. We've surveyed 4,000 people so far, something like that, close to 4,000 speakers. And this is their story. This is what y'all put in. Y'all put this in there. These y'all answers. I didn't make these answers up. They come directly from the speaker's mouth. Any questions so far? What are your thoughts?
We have a comment. Ron, we have a comment.
Yep.
Andrea said, someone said to me the other day that they felt speaking was inaccessible. I thought that was interesting.
What do they mean by inaccessible? What does that mean? I'm not
I told somebody that I was pivoting into speaking, and her remark was exactly that. She's like, so why don't you speak? She has a consulting company. She's got big clients. And we were talking about the shift in work, the shift in higher education specifically, and ways to make money. So she was like, oh, speaking just feels so inaccessible. And that was the context at which she was approaching that statement.
But what does she mean by inaccessible? She couldn't get the gigs?
That's a good point. I think what I believe she meant, and I don't know because I didn't ask her further, was she didn't know where to begin to access a stage.
Yep. And that's the problem we solve. That's why we got the 4 million gigs, right? 3.5 million podcasts, 209,000 associations, 170,000 media outlets, and 45,000 conferences.
That's
right?
a case study for you, though, right? How people's perception of that, what they can offer in terms of either, you already talk about it. What I'm saying is that direct statement is a case study that can be shared.
Oh, 100%. It hasn't been introduced to them, and we got a plan for it. There's an app for that, Andrea. We got a plan. We got a game plan for that. The one thing that we've learned is speaking has inaccessible is one thing. I think because of how speakers present themselves, it kind of seems unattainable. Because it's like, we struggle with that idea. Who's going to pay me 20 grand to talk about this? Does that make sense? And it's like, well, I don't know people that will just write a $20,000 check for me to come talk. So that's when it seems inaccessible. Does that make sense?
I
Because I don't think a
also,
lot of times they know who has the check.
I think also the thought behind how I'm losing my thought. I apologize. I'll circle back because I had it and I lost it.
But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things is that there's a process. Can you, Debbie, did you have to take a test or some type of training to become a public adjuster?
Yeah, state licensing test.
Okay. So you can't just change I can't just change my LinkedIn profile to public adjuster.
You couldn't without fraud, but
yeah. But that's all you need to do to be a speaker. You just put speaker on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
There's no exam, right?
I
The
see,
barrier
right,
to entry is very low,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? The barrier to entry to becoming a speaker is like the lines on the street. It's paint. It's paint level thin. That's the barrier to entry. Cross that line whenever you want, right? So we got 1.5 million speakers worldwide, all competing for the same stages, right? But everybody wants to be paid because that's the dream that's sold. We found that speaking was actually, for those who were traditional speakers, speaking was their first business. for 95% of them. Not all of them, but for 95%. Speaking was the first business they ever read. So they're their own product. So of course I got to get paid because I got to put my product on stage. We respect that. We think that that's great. But how do you compete with someone who says speaking is a marketing engine? I'll go give you a talk for free.
I found it.
Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I was listening to an interview about Oprah with Oprah, and it's Oprah. She was talking about her early career where she's like, in order to make the impact or to have the effect that I'm looking for, I realize I'm going to have to be a public voice. You know what I mean? For example, it's just a platform to be able to talk about what it is that you want to talk about. But she said that she understood from there what it meant to have to build out that brand and then parse through all the things that came up for her to become that brand. And I think that's also what people feel like is inaccessible. Who do I think I am to become a brand? I'm not saying that's what I subscribe to. I already know what's, in my vision and pipeline. I'm just saying that people struggle with that.
Yeah, 100%. But when did Gary Vee start? When did he say he got that invite?
2004.
2006, right?
6, something like that.
Yeah, but you're same zone. But he was running Wine Library since 1995. He was running his dad's store since 1995, learning about wine. And he had started a YouTube channel around that time called Wine Library TV when YouTube first came out. But he got his first speaking gig invitation in 2006. He didn't start off at $150,000. That was 20 years ago, guys. He put in the work. That's all I'm saying is do the work. You can get whatever you want, given enough time. At the beginning, you may have to start off as an entrepreneurial speaker and getting lower fees. Or at the beginning, you may already be famous and you don't have the business. So you got to develop a very basic product for the backside of it. One isn't right or the other. All I'm saying is the best do both. How many of y'all are average? Nobody. Nobody ever raises their hand, but we take average paths. We look at the best of what they do and we say, I want to do that. I'm going to be average, but I ain't average. I ain't put my hand up, but I'm going to do the average thing. And that's why we lose. Again, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm a perspirational speaker, right? I know how to tell people how to get to work, but it just takes time, right? People see me now with SpeakerHub 2025. Oh, you own SpeakerHub. It's doing this. Yeah, you can see me in 2017 when I was struggling trying to figure this thing out. It don't happen overnight, guys. And this is the worst we'll ever be. That's all I'm going to tell you. This is the worst it'll ever be over here. And it's the same for you. Andrea, we can help you. I promise you, we can help you. You just got to get on more, got to get out there more. Right? More people got to get to know who you are. Sharon, more people just got to get to know who you are. You're trustworthy. You're likable. You're just unknown for now. For now. Right? So hopefully this was helpful, guys. We're right at the 1 hour mark. We usually go into overtime. I'm willing to stay on to answer whatever questions you may have in overtime. My next call isn't until 1:15. So I got a little bit of time. If you all want to dig deeper into this, I can go into the different, how different people see different podcasts and why you use podcasts to get associations, to get press, to turn one thing into another. And you keep that machine running forever. You never stop doing podcasts. You never stop doing the small gigs. Look at Dean Graziosi. Dean Graziosi right now, who runs Tony Robbins' business. He's basically the CEO of Tony Robbins Enterprises. He's on a podcast tour. He's on everybody's podcast right now. Right? There's a new dude I just figured out. His name's Caleb. Caleb is on a podcast run right now. This dude right here, Caleb, let me bring him up. I want to show you. This dude right here, Caleb Ralston.
For the last 16 years,
Caleb got 7,000 subscribers. That's it. He new, brand new. His channel only got 25 videos. He been doing this. He had these old videos, but he didn't come out the woodworks until last month. Notice he went silent because he was doing other stuff. But you know what he did over the last 4 years? Let me show you who Caleb was. And this is what we talk about all the time. Caleb was the social media manager
because they know
Gary Vee. That's why his photo's there. He did that for Gary Vee. Followed him around the world with a camera, learning to do social media stuff and doing it for him. And then Alex hired him 2 years ago. And he took Alex from 1.4 million followers to 14 million followers. Right? But he put in the work over the last few years. He didn't say anything. He just did the damn work. Now he's coming out and he's telling everybody about the work. He on everybody podcast now. He ain't saying no to nobody. I listened to him this morning. He said, I'm not telling nobody no. Why? Because now he's got to get out there. He got to go tell people about the work he's already done. Does this make sense? But you know what he's saying? Hey, I was doing these for these other guys. I did the cool stuff for Gary Vee and for Alex. Now I got to do my own. I'm going to go build my own business now. This is how it works. Same path I was on. Go look on our page. I got a lot of these speakers out there that I was there, man in the back, doing all the pitching. I just decided to come out. Is this making sense? So do the work, of course, but now go talk about it. Anything else? Any other questions? Is this helpful? Thoughts, feedback? Cool. If there are none, we can.
I need to get with you on signing up, but today and tomorrow is going to be tight for me, so probably Friday.
Okay. Anytime, man. I work until 11 p.m. every night, so Central Time. I work all the time.
That's Central Time?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'll shoot you a text. I got your phone number, so I'll shoot you a text message.
I appreciate that.
I thought you were on Eastern Time, Ron.
When the U.S. changes, Colombia doesn't, so it shifts back and forth.
Oh.
The U.S. is the only people that do the daylight savings time clock change thing. And
but we didn't change recently, did we?
Oh, yes.
Yep, April. First week of April.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I mean, this is
You live in Arizona, man. In Arizona, they don't change ever.
Yeah.
Right? Arizona stays the same, I think.
Yeah, I got to call my son. He's in Germany, and the time changed around now, so I got to get off of here and give him a holler. So I'll get back with you then. Okay.
All right. I'll be in touch. Any other questions? Is this helpful? I know y'all heard the flywheel, but it's that perception thing that we've been talking about all week. How you see yourself determines how you see the opportunities. Right? It's the lens in which you see everything. I got two of these. I gotta keep my glasses clean, man. I don't be liking stuff on my glasses. You ever seen people that look like they done licked their glasses before they put them on their face? Like, dude, when was the last time you done cleaned off? You got cereal on your glasses, bro. You gotta wipe them joints off, right? The way we view things, the lens in which we see the world is the lens in which we see opportunity. Does that make sense? So I just wanted to kind of add more into that, how we see speaking opportunities and how we view this industry. Because if you don't see it as, wow, I go on this podcast, they're giving me referrals. I go speak at this local association. It's my clients are in the room. When I write for this article, they're going to pay me to write this article. When I get the bigger stage, if I go do a conference, man, imagine how many people go sign up under my speaker QR to hop into my sales funnel. Same room, different perspective, different level of preparation.
All right. Well, I'm throwing myself back into the pitching arena, man. I'm pitching again.
Yeah, you should never stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
I know.
No Diddy.
I stopped temporarily while I was doing too much, so I had to chop a few of my activities, get them out of
Oh yeah,
out of the way.
we're in the right place, guys. I mean, look, this is the right thing. One thing I know is that SpeakerHub will be a source of truth. We will tell people the hard truths they don't want to hear, and we'll let them go argue with them privately. Argue with yourself in private. Then come back and tell us when you agree with us.
I've been telling some of my speaker friends about it, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'll get on when I share the link." But so far they haven't. So they said, "Oh yeah, I heard about that. I heard about that." So
Yeah, it's all good.
I,
We
I
just
guess
don't.
it's
We don't
gonna
have the
take.
speaker fairies, man. Everybody wants the speaker fairies. So I'll leave it with this one quote: if you want to be poor, lie to people who want to hear the truth. Right? They'll never do business with you. If you want to be average, tell the truth to the people that want to hear the truth. If you want to be rich, lie to people that want to be lied to. Now, that's unfortunate. But people are willing to pay more for a lie. I just can't live with myself trying to remember the lies. So we try to find data and report to you guys the data. We try to find processes and give you all the processes that we've already verified ourselves.
I believe the people that I've told about it, they're not going to believe me until they see me successful. So now I got to get successful. That's one more reason. I want to show them that this works because I believe in this right here.
Yeah, but you got to point them fingers this way.
I believe in this right here.
There you go. That's it. That's it. You got to believe in that more, right? Because that's what pushes you to pitch more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a firm believer that pitch volume is a reflection of self-belief. Why? Because if I believe that my stuff is good, I'm telling everybody. Right?
Okay.
We hold back when we're not ready for it. We're like, I don't want people to see that. Let's not put that out yet. But when it's ready, hey yo, SpeakerHub Pro is the greatest thing ever. Why? Because it's ready. It's ready now. Does that make
That's
sense?
what I've been saying about SpeakerHub Pro. I need to say that about myself too.
We got to get to say about Kevin. You got to start with Kevin. Right?
All right. So I'm on.
So there's a I'll leave with this. There's a quote that I think it's from Jesus, right? And it's a quote that he said to the audience, but I think people should look in the mirror and say it to themselves on a daily basis. What do you think that quote is, Kevin?
Man, and I know all of his quotes, so that's why I'm going through them in my mind when you said
What's
that.
one that you can say in the mirror? And it's based on what we talked about all this week.
About the flowers in the field being decorated and
nope, I got you. Here it is. You should look in the mirror every day when you brushing your teeth and you say this. You believe in God, believe also in me. Look in the mirror every morning and say that. Kevin, you believe in God, believe also, and look at yourself and say, believe also in me. The same way. I promise you. Things change when you do that. See, I got a choir song. I'll send it to you privately. I can't play it on here. But Angela know my I got this choir that sings this song.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna share it with you. No, the choir is amazing. But I can't play it on YouTube. But I'm gonna send it to you. They sing an amazing song that you just should listen to every day. And it's in the same spirit of if you believe in God, believe also in me. We need to say that to ourselves.
Send it to me.
I got you. I'm gonna text you right now. All right. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Ron.